You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Today on CityCast Denver. For the state's 150th anniversary next year, Governor Polis wants to build a pedestrian walkway that stretches from the steps of the Capitol to Veterans Memorial Park. But is this what anyone wants besides, well, the governor? Kyle Clark at 9 News has done some digging, and he's on today to share what he found. Today is Thursday, June 26th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Kyle Clark, welcome back to CityCast Denver.
Am I a frequent flyer at this point?
We want you to be, yes.
I enjoy the service here. I'm happy to be a frequent flyer.
Well, you reached out to us about a story that we had also been working on, but you had much more luck on finding information. So I'm super glad we get to talk about this. But you said Governor Polis plans to build what you called an abandoned water slide at the state capitol. For folks who may be hearing about this project for the first time, what are you talking about? So
the governor has this idea of essentially a legacy project for Colorado's 150th birthday next summer, which is America's 250th. And it would be this enormous pedestrian walkway snaking from the front lawn, the west lawn of the Capitol, down over the 4 lanes of Lincoln to Lincoln's Veteran Memorial Park. And he wants this thing done fast, and he wants this to be a signature project for his administration and for Colorado's 150th birthday.
And so this is called, the Colorado 150 pedestrian walkway. I have to say, again, we've been talking about doing a story on this bridge too, but we had a hard time finding anybody who was in support of it to talk to. Were you able to find anybody who supported it?
We couldn't find anybody who supported it, so we asked the governor's office, can you connect us with somebody who supports it? And they connected us with a lovely local artist who it turns out is being paid to support the project. We have yet to find anybody else who is supportive of it. The governor is pushing this, and behind the scenes, they're lining up wealthy donors to pay for a portion of this bridge.
But they didn't have, we were looking for lawmakers, parks people, preservationists. You couldn't find any of those folks?
Nope.
Okay. Does the city of Denver support it?
Well, City of Denver is awful quiet about this thing, but we learned through an open records request that the City of Denver actually nixed a plan for this bridge to go all the way to Civic Center Park, which is city property. And somewhere along the line, they said, that's not going to happen. They sent us a very sweet statement about how we raised some concerns. End of the day, this bridge was supposed to go all the way over to Civic Center. It's not, because that's Denver property, and Denver said no.
So Denver's not in support of it either.
They won't come out and say that, but let's read between the lines. This project is solely on state-owned property, meaning the Capitol property and Veterans Memorial Park.
Does this project require any sort of public approval or input, or could the governor just do this?
Basically, the governor can just do this. He needs to go through the Capitol Building Advisory Committee, which is 2 legislators and 10 members of the public. And then he also is going to have to go through the city's Landmark Preservation Committee. But the bridge is not going to be going into Civic Center Park. It's not going to be going onto city land. So the city's involvement is more the lanes of Lincoln that are going to be beneath it. But no, he essentially has a project that's self-contained to state property. And this thing is moving at a rocket's pace because he wants it done complete by next summer.
By next summer.
For the birthday, for the 150th birthday celebration. This is going to be the centerpiece of Colorado's 150th birthday. And then the rest of us are going to look at this abandoned water slide on the front lawn of the Capitol for the next 50 years.
I just knowing how any project works that's going to require all of these different agencies and money, a little over a year is no time at all.
I feel like you can get anything done fast if you throw enough money at it.
That's true.
And what we've learned also through open records requests is that while everybody's talking about this bridge costing $18 to $20 million, the full project is way more expensive than that. It's 40 to 60% more expensive. The actual total that they've been telling people behind the scenes is $28.5 million for this project.
I was going to say the only thing that I've seen, only number I've seen reported is around 20 million. And you're saying it's closer to 29 million.
Yes, that the 20 million figure is just for the bridge without like a place for it to land at the Capitol, without the art that is supposed to be the centerpiece of this bridge, $2 million worth of art. It doesn't include the streetscape and the landscaping improvements. I mean, the figure that they have publicly quoted for the bridge doesn't even include money to like pull permits, get insurance, and pay the contractor. So I'll be honest, it's really deceptive to say that this is an $18 to $20 million project. That's for a floating bridge with nothing on it. It's a $29 million project.
We've seen a bridge to nowhere. There's one off of Santa Fe right now. If you want to see what one looks like that doesn't include all of these things that would at least make it usable.
Right. And for this big birthday celebration, we're going to have a floating bridge in the sky unless they can come up with the $29 million. And here's what I would say. And there are increasingly fewer places for them to go to get this money because the state budget is at its max. Legislators made cuts this year. They're going to make cuts next year. The federal government, Donald Trump is not going to cut us a check for a pedestrian bridge in Denver. He'd drag us on Truth Social if he found out about that. So increasingly, they're going around to some of the wealthiest people in Colorado to see if they would cut a check to probably get their name on the bridge and build this thing.
And I mean, I have to say you could get a couple of these higher profile folks together and 29 million wouldn't be a tough number.
No, it's not a lot of money to people who have a lot of money.
Right.
But to average folks looking at it and saying, is this where Colorado should spend millions of dollars? They've already spent $1.5 million on the design. And one thing that bothers me is you're going to have legislators sitting in that Capitol next year, figuring out what programs to cut, looking out the window at the millions of dollars that went into the abandoned water slide project. And I think this thing is going to become a monument to government waste. It's anybody who passes the Capitol in the next 3 generations is going to go, look at that thing and how many millions did we pour into that, as opposed to whatever is their priority, right? This is going to fit into any concern that anybody has about government for the next 50 years. We spent money on that.
I'm already seeing myself be that person because I think about, bond projects or, things that we have, gathered taxpayer money for improvements to things. Like I remember when they put what I called a new front door on the Denver Art Museum. I didn't find it necessary. It does look gorgeous. It gets used now, but that still had to go through a public process to drastically change part of the built environment for an amenity that the public uses. And it sounds like this essentially could bypass all of that process if he just has enough money.
Yeah, there's no public component to this. There are a couple of those committees that it needs to go through. And I think the thing that bothers me about this project, to the point that with 9 News Management, I sat down and said, I'd like to speak out with concerns about this. And they said, yeah, as long as you're accurate and you're fair, go right ahead. What bothers me is this isn't just any place in our state. This is the front lawn of the state capitol, which is an iconic, beautiful place. It is a place for protest. It is a place for democracy. It is a place for celebration. And it connects with this larger portion of our city, which is one of America's most gorgeous examples of the City Beautiful movement, right? This century-old movement to create civic spaces within communities. And it's an area that's balanced by these 2 architectural gems, right? The classic architecture of the Capitol and the neoclassical architecture of the city and county building. And it has the balance and the form and the function of City Park between it. And the idea that you're going to slap this winding, curving pedestrian bridge through the middle of it, it's just, I don't know. I've heard people say it's ugly. I don't think it's ugly. I think it's out of place. Okay.
Because I was going to say, other than aesthetically, what else is there about the bridge that you think isn't great? I don't know. I mean, I've just seen the renderings. I think it's ugly, but there's a lot of things I don't think look great that
I think you could take it and put it in other neighborhoods in Denver and it would look very cool. I also think that there are probably other cities in Colorado that would love something like that in their downtown. I'm not so much opposed to spending the money as opposed to spending the money on that project there. That you're going to disrupt this beautiful space that has been nationally recognized as a historic landmark in Civic Center Park to put in something that does not fit with the space just because he can. And I think there have to be certain spaces in Colorado that are not open to being remade by pet projects by a governor. There must be some spaces that are off limits.
This episode is brought to you by the Regional Air Quality Council. Created from pollutants like car exhaust, did you know that ozone is the Front Range's biggest air quality issue and a leading cause of respiratory problems? But you can do something about it. Take simple steps for better air this summer and leave the car at home and walk, bike, or scoot shorter distances. Maybe carpool, combine trips. Take transit where you need to go. Oh my God, I had to be a carpooler in Catholic school with a family that I did not like. So I was really upset. I was like, it's fine if we carpool with the Toveries, but the Heffelmans, I don't like them. And my mom was like, well, too bad. This is the carpool and this is how it works. And I remember crying like the night before school started because I had to go with David in the car and we did not get along. Turned out fine. I mean, I got to school. So that's Catholic school car problems for you, I guess. Sign up for Summer Ozone text alerts to know when it matters most by texting Better Air CO to 21000 or sign up for emails at simplestepsbetterair.org. Learn more ways to help improve air quality on the Front Range at simplestepsbetterair.org.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
What do you think about the idea of the legacy project? Because I have to say, I struggle with this idea, thinking about other legacy projects that other mayors or governors maybe have put forth in Colorado. Do you think he needs this to have a legacy?
No, I think he's done lots of impactful things as governor. I don't think that he needs a monument to have that legacy. And the deal is, right, if he's that great of a governor, somebody else is going to put up a monument to him afterwards. You know, I do think that when the public has had the opportunity to weigh in, the public has been skeptical of these projects. I think of what Mayor Hancock wanted to do with the mid-size arena at National Western.
Yes.
That was the first tax increase the Denver voters said no to in a really long time. And Hancock Arena, I know it wasn't going to be named that, but they said no to that. I mean, think about what happened 50 years ago with McNichols and what an absolute uproar that was about naming that after him. I just think this is the wrong project in the wrong place, and it's right. It's not an outdoor music festival. It's not a fireworks show. It's forever.
It's permanent.
He wants to build a permanent thing on the front lawn of the state capitol, and somebody in this state has to say, no, you don't just get to do anything you want because you're governor or because you and your friends are really wealthy. Somebody has to be able to say no.
There was a component of this that really bothered me, which is you reported that the governor made a case for this bridge, this project being about accessibility. And I know a lot of folks in the disability community, and I think they have a lot more ideas for making that area of town more accessible that probably doesn't involve a $29 million bridge. Do you think any of this is about accessibility?
No, I think that all of the governor's rationales for building this bridge fall apart as soon as you talk to somebody who actually knows anything about the topic. I think this idea that it's about a wheelchair ramp to the Capitol. Get out of here. A $28.5 million wheelchair ramp to the Capitol, like that's an insult to anybody who has worked on accessibility issues. We've also heard it's about pedestrian safety. Well, the minute you talk to any safe streets advocate, they're like, nope, there's all kinds of things you could do to improve pedestrian safety in terms of at-grade crossings. Oh, and also, at 9 News, we pulled the pedestrian crash safety data at the intersection where this would go over. One pedestrian crash last year.
Really? I mean, this is a high traffic area for pedestrians and cars.
It absolutely is. I would just say it's across 4 lanes of traffic on Lincoln. So I think pedestrians, even that might take chances on narrower roads, are not taking it across 4 lanes of Lincoln. And also there's good signage, there's well-timed walk signals, things like that. We were out there yesterday checking out some of that stuff. Every one of these excuses that the governor's office puts out for why this project is necessary just falls apart. The latest, and I thought this was a joke when I first heard it, they said it will provide a place for visiting school kids to sit and eat their lunch at the Capitol.
Not on the lawn or...
I was about to say, there's a lawn right there, there's beautiful trees, $28.5 million bridge so that kids can sit on it and eat lunch. I've said... I think that one of the best arguments against this thing is that they can't come up with an argument for it.
Yeah. The kids, the argument for school kids, the argument for accessibility, and the argument for making it for an art gallery, like it just offends me on all 3 levels, because I can think of all 3 of those groups could use money towards improvements in the city that make it a safer, more accessible, more affordable place for them to live, whether they're children or disabled folks or artists.
Yep. Just be strict. Just say, hey, listen, why are we doing this? Governor wants it.
That's okay. So I guess that's my last question is just like, can this project be stopped?
I don't know, but I'm going to try. I don't know. Here's the thing. More than anything, I want people to be aware of this. What I don't want is for people to next year, literally next year, that's how soon they want to do this. I don't want people to drive by the Capitol next year and go, what the hell is that?
I was going to say, do you feel like part of this push to do it quickly is to also kind of, I mean, it's been reported on, but to kind of get it under the radar a little bit? Or?
I don't know. They want it for the 150th, right? They want it for the 150th, which also happens to be right before he leaves office, right? He's going to leave office 6 months after that. So I think those are the 2 time pressures on it. So I don't necessarily think that they're being sneaky. I think they're being fast about it. And I just want people to know, because again, I don't know if this can be stopped, but I want Coloradans to have the opportunity to think about it and think about, is this what we want for an iconic place in our state? And to really wrestle with the question, should the governor and his friends be able to do whatever they want with whatever state property they want to mess with just because they're rich and powerful? Is that all you need?
Yeah. I mean, this might be the ultimate test of that question, Kyle.
We'll find out, and we're going to find out fast, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm so interested to hear what our listeners and folks across the city think about it, because this might be the first time some folks are hearing about it.
Yeah. And you know what? I know that it was purpose designed for this space, and that's what the architects will tell you. But I truly believe if you want to do this project somewhere in a place that wants it and embraces it, then go ahead and make that argument that it's worth the $28.5 million to do it someplace where it's really wanted. But to put it in a place where only the governor and his rich friends appear to want it, that feels like a really hard sell.
Kyle Clark, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for letting me talk about the bridge. I'm really worked up about it.
I'm glad you wanted to talk to me about it, because I also was worked up about it. And just a note, we reached out to the governor's office for comment about the project, but didn't get a statement before this episode aired. We'll keep you updated. And what about you? What do you think about Governor Polis's big idea? We want to hear from you. The Is Governor Polis's Sesquicentennial Legacy Bridge Project a Good Idea or Not hotline is open at 720-500-5418. Again, shoot us a text or give us a call at 720-500-5418. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell Governor Polis about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later.